Suzanne Monk, host of Trump Talk. This is another Trump Talk special edition. Today, Trump Talk special edition on immigration reform. One of the biggest issues in the Trump campaign, as we all know, was one of the issues he started his campaign with. When he came down on the escalator, it was the first thing he talked about. He talked about building the wall, but that is just one component of a multi-component immigration reform policy. So like we often love to do here on Trump Talk, I like to do a daily show. When I can't do a daily show, I give you guys a special bonus, Trump Talk Special Edition, Trump Talk Special Edition, immigration reform. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. So, of course, most important thing, step one in Trump's immigration plan is building the border wall. As he says, a nation without borders is not a nation. So without a secure border, we basically don't have a country. And worse than that, to be fair, if we know anything about the border, we also are facilitating the narco state control of Mexico, the drug cartels and their human trafficking, sex slavery, using humans forcibly for drug mules, ransom holding, all of these criminal activities, the cartels who are shooting up weddings, holding villages hostage, taking people, kidnapping, people disappear. It's a tragedy and a travesty, and that spills over into our border, but it's destroying Mexico as well because of the ease of travel that these illegal activities are able to have with our porous border. So building a security wall, very important, and is point number one in Trump's plan, obviously. But it goes on. The second part, a nation without laws is not a nation. Enforcing the existing laws on the books is key. I am certain this is going to involve all sorts of enforcement. Illegal employment enforcement, both against the employers and anything. That is not what it says specifically, but we can all only assume that when you start to enforce the laws, you're running from the laws. But it literally, this is as much as he says. The laws passed in accordance with our constitutional system of government must be enforced. That includes the labor laws, you guys. I feel that Trump is going to do some great things in enforcing immigration, illegal immigration problems, so that immigration, legal immigration, can indeed flourish and be the source for positive labor and America that it should be. Let's go on with number three. Number three, any immigration policy must improve the jobs, wages, and security for America, for American citizens. We are in an America first candidacy. Trump's motto, his mission, America first. And especially in the immigration issue. So any immigration policy that's created must focus on providing the best for American citizens, not other citizens. We're happy to have immigrants come, but we do have to make sure that citizens are being taken care of first and not being looked over in order to encourage immigration, as we all know happens now. Mexico is going to pay for the wall. There is a whole other position paper about Mexico and how they pay for the wall. So we're going to go over that at a later date. But Mexico, due to trade imbalance, due to the huge amount of funds that go to Mexico, I believe we even have foreign aid that goes to Mexico. There are a great many ways that Mexico can and will help pay for the wall, if not pay for the wall entirely, 100%. So we're going to do that in a whole other segment, though, because it has a whole bunch of parts, and we're not going to get involved with it. It is literally a separate position paper. On DonaldJTrump.com, you can take a look at it for yourself. So we need to expand our enforcement of laws. We need to do more with the laws we have. And these are some specifics. 3 times the ICE officers. 3 times. So we need to hire more ICE officers, more immigration enforcement officers. Obviously, is going to be a key factor. That there's some employment involved there. People have often talked about there aren't enough border patrol, there aren't enough ICE officers. Trump wants to triple them. So he wants to create a nationwide E-Verify for employment, which would not only hold employees, but employers accountable. He wants to deport any criminal aliens. The Obama administration has been leaving criminals here in the United States while they await their trial. We want to deport people who are here illegally, who are not, if you're not being held for your crime. Obama doesn't, not just when they're waiting for their trial, he lets them out. Many times, as we all know, in the sanctuary cities. This is where we've got Kate Steinle, all of these incidences where illegals who had committed even crimes, rather than be sent home, are let out into the system. So we're going to end that. We're going to deport the criminal aliens and the ones that have already been released by the Obama administration. If you have committed a crime here and you are in the United States, you're going back. Detention, not catch and release until you can be sent back to your country. One of the things we're doing is when you get here and you come here illegally, we're like, oh, you're here illegally. We go, okay, great. So come to this court date 3 weeks from now and go stay with your cousin. And they never show up again. We're not doing anything about that. That's how the system works. And everybody uses it and everybody knows. Trump doesn't want to do that anymore. We're going to end that. We're going to hold people until they can be sent back home. This will be a deterrent because it will not be possible to just come here and get caught. If you get caught, you're not going to go stay with your cousin and just get to be running around in America. Enhancing overstay visa penalties. So for those who overstay their visas, they're always talking about, whoa, you can't do it's visas. People come here all legally and they get visas and they overstay. Right. Trump has a fact about that. We're going to enhance penalties for overstaying your visa. Enforce those laws. That's right. Trump also wants to cooperate with gang task forces in border areas and across the country to help identify foreign gangs. There are gang cartel members, branches, organized crime that is going across the border. We need to identify these and we need to make sure we're stopping them. We need to stop gang crime in the cities, but we also need to stop gang crime that's coming from other countries into our country and trying to operate organized crime organizations here just as they do back home. So he also wants to end birthright citizenship. At this point, we create a huge incentive for people to come here, and that we have decided that an interpretation, and many have believed a misinterpretation of the Constitution, states that if you are born on the soil, you are a U.S. citizen. Other scholars believe, as we've argued many times, we all saw in the beginning of this campaign, we had many debates about this. Other scholars believe that, in fact, it does not state that two people who are here illegally are not under the sovereignty of the government, so therefore they cannot give birth to a citizen. They're here illegally, therefore they are not sovereign to the government. They're just invaders, really, at that point. I mean, they have good hearts, good compassion. They're there for a reason. They are trying to make a better life. I'm not in any way judging their motives for trying to come to America, because America is great and it's going to be greater and great again. But it doesn't stay great if everyone can just come without following the law, without us being a nation of laws, and without fairly allowing those who come here legally to have the benefits while those who don't. I mean, it's just a matter of fairness. And I don't begrudge people's motivations, but we certainly need to do something to make it harder for them to be taken advantage of by coyotes, by drug cartels, etc., for their hope for a better life. Because we all know there's plenty of hope, but it should be easier to get here legally. And some of these policies will, in fact, prevent a lot of the problems that we're having with illegal immigration, and, in fact, improve the situation, making it easier to bring legal people here. So let's go on with that. American workers first. This is another thing that's very important. A lot of the illegal immigration problems we're having is how illegal immigration or enhanced immigration where we have too many HB1 visas, or the government is actually facilitating, or we're bringing a lot of people in undermines wages here in the United States for American workers. And we all know it's an economic reality. Trump wants to put American workers first with the HB1 visa reform to raise the lowest wage that you can offer for an HB1 visa. Right now, companies are actually able to, because the wage requirement for an HB1 visa is so low, they're able to use the HB1 visa to hire people for less than the market value here. And obviously, it would be much better to pin that to market value so that, in fact, you're not, if you are hiring people from overseas, you have tried to hire people here at the going market rate before you've tried to bring people overseas to fill those jobs. So Trump intends to raise that rate and certainly do some reforms with that. He wants to require that U.S. Workers are hired first before you extend H-1 visas or bring foreign workers in. You must have offered the job at working rate to Americans, and in fact have stiffer penalties and stiffer requirements for proving, in fact, that you cannot find workers here. So we certainly want to make that a little bit more difficult for employers to abuse the HB1 visa program without first providing jobs to American citizens. He wants to end welfare abuse. It's a huge problem. Applicants for entry into the United States should not be receiving welfare, and they should be required. They should be able to prove to us they can pay for themselves. We can't just have people come here and then we pay for them. That's crazy. Literally. The job program for inner city youth. At this point, there is a J1 program that is a list for foreign youth to help them get jobs and different employment programs here in the United States. Trump wants to end that and turn it around for students, American youth who need jobs in the inner city. And these youth unemployment is humongous. It's like 70, 80%, 90% in some areas. So that we continue to try to have government programs and spend government money to try to help foreign students, foreign youth work in the United States, when in fact we can't even find jobs for our own youth in the United States, it's just self-defeatist. And we need, America doesn't stay great, and we don't become a place where people can come and enjoy these benefits if we don't make sure we retain what makes us great, which is employment, jobs, availability, opportunity, and making America first for American children. Very important. Additionally, he wants to increase the standards for what is a refugee. So at this point, not just with Muslim refugees, but with unattended minors, there's all sorts of situations where people are claimed refugee status for reasons that have begun to be decayed and slackened and eased until now there is a great deal of people being brought here basically illegally, but being allowed to stay and legitimized via a refugee label. And Trump wants to further define and limit what refugee can mean, which I think is important, particularly with the European crisis and how much trouble they're having with the migrant situation over there. Lastly, he intends to do some immigration moderation. In other words, we don't want to keep issuing green cards while unemployment is very high, while the middle class is struggling, and while we're having such problems with workforce participation in the United States. So Trump intends to put together several plans, and I'm sure he's not very specific on this. This is one of the things that's not specific, but it is one of those added on. We're going to talk about moderating how the immigration process is and how many people we let into the United States on green cards, and what kind of policies we have going forward so that we're not undermining the job market. Trump is the first candidate in a long time that has worked towards not undermining the job market with immigration and by dealing with illegal immigration. As we both know, that has been the third rail of American politics for decades, for all of my lifetime. But the train runs on electricity, apparently, and that third rail just makes us go faster. Because somebody needs to deal with the immigration issue make it easier, more functional, more organized, so more transparent, more effective in vetting who is coming here in the United States. Make our borders secure so we're not allowing organized crime to continue to operate both on our soil and on our southern neighbors' soil, basically destroying the country, country of Mexico and our whole border region. And we need to enforce the laws we have on the books. We need to start making decisions that put American citizens first so that America can be that strong, shining light on the hill that people want to come to and have wanted to come to for generations. We're fast under the current administration becoming a country nobody's going to want it to come to. And we have to stop that. And the only way to do that, vote Donald J. Trump. And so, that is our Trump Talk Special Edition, everybody. I am your host, Suzanne Monk. This is Bill Trumpy. Go out. You can read all this information on donaldjtrump.com. You can find out more about Trump Talk at Trumpetarian, or of course TrumpTalkUS@gmail.com, or www.trumptech.us. You can find us on Facebook at Trump Talk US. Hope to see you soon. Go Trump.